You're watching Tea and Poetry with Dave Steele, the blind poet.
Good evening, or good afternoon, I should say.
Excellent. How you doing over there?
I am extremely good.
Awesome.
Extremely good today.
Awesome. Well, I want to welcome everyone to another episode of Tea and Poetry. It's great to be here. I'm sorry that we were MIA last week, but we're back. And I want to welcome everyone. Great group of individuals out there tonight. As always, some familiar faces. I'm seeing some new faces out there. It's great time to be on the live stream today. A lot of exciting updates, announcements from projects that we've been working on, and it's just exciting times all around. So I want to get Travis. Good to see you out there. Bailey Barnes out there. Dave, Sedona Dave, Dr. Harrier, Ken, all the way from Australia. This is really an amazing international tribe, as Allison is always referred to as far as this group. So couple things, housekeeping before we get started. Number one, if you would like to join the conversation, and like I always say, every week, we encourage you to join the conversation. You have the choice to come in with audio only, or if you want to come in with video as well, it's up to you. You should feel comfortable. This is a great, it's a wonderful group here, and everyone here is, here to participate. So I encourage you guys to raise your hand when you do want to participate, like our dear friend Travis, who literally comes in with his hand raised from the start. So on top of that, so if you raise your hand, that means we're going to call you to join the group. Then you can send us a message through the chat. It seems like the chat is working. And of course, you can also send us a message through the Q&A, like our good friend Ken has sent us. So all good. We did not have an episode last week for various logistical considerations. And we are back. And so I'm going to hand it over to Dave to get the party started.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be back. We have got a very exciting, monumental, that's a word I don't use very often, but I'm going to say monumental episode of Tea and Poetry tonight. We have a special guest who is, I see in the room, and going to be joining us very, very shortly. We have lots to talk about. Of course, I have some poetry. I have written a lot of poetry recently. Barry, we've not spoke about this. I have been writing some really, we've spoken previous weeks before how, I write a lot of poetry, and often I get these moments where something special comes and I kind of just go, yeah, this is worth something. And I'm going to open with one in just a second. And then we're going to kind of get into kind of announcements and bring our special guest on and talk about everything else. I did have a message from Doreen, who is running late. She's on a bus and the bus is running late, but she'll be with us in the next kind of 10 minutes.
Better being late than getting her hair done.
Absolutely. Yeah, this isn't a hair week. She's on her way. So it'd be nice to kind of hear from Doreen tonight as well as a few other people out there. But I'm going to open with this piece of poetry that I wrote literally maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week and a bit ago. And I often get up and I'll have a concept in mind for writing a piece of poetry. And I have an idea that's kind of a different way of looking at things. And just having that concept will inspire me to write the full piece. And I wrote this without stopping. Literally, I didn't take a breath. And I know you always like to pick out lines and bits. Yes. God help you with this one because there's quite a lot. Okay, so here we go. It's no title. For those people that follow me on social media, you may have seen me do a video of this, but this is probably the second time I've read this. Here we go. I've decided that today I'm going to try and write a list of all the things I'm grateful for and all the things I miss. The positives and negatives of slowly going blind. The things that lots of people sometimes push to back of mind. I'll start with all I've lost to blindness cost as vision fades. Yet I know now these things allow are certainly outweighed. I miss the times when I could drive and hit the open road, but there is more to life than driving these last years have showed. The freedom that I feel from swiping my cane left to right, or walking with my guide dog in the dark of darkest night, taking in the beauty riding shotgun with my wife. I don't miss driving so much now. I've still a happy life. I must admit, I miss the days when I'd walk out my door without a stranger staring like they've not seen a cane before, or viewing with suspicion this condition that I fight. How can this guy be blind when it is clear he has some sight? But every misconception is an opportunity to educate, articulate my words through poetry. For I would not be who I am so proud of now today if blindness wasn't slowly taking my sight now away. So as I write this list, I miss one vital thing to tell. The times that I feel anxious, like a prisoner in a cell. The cell is this blurred tunnel that I view my loved ones from, and how I feel so sad that it is nearly almost gone. But what I've come to realize is something you can borrow. Just focus on today and not what may expire tomorrow. I'm happy for the lessons that my blindness going blind has taught to me, that how I see is not how I'm defined.
As always, an incredible piece of poetry. I couldn't keep up with the writing, by the way. You're going, I was about to say, like, Dave, slow down, slow down. But no, I got some stuff in here. There's so much to talk about with, each of these, pieces that you put together. I do like to write down. I like to discuss and share my thoughts. But again, I want to encourage everyone to really chime in and share their thoughts, right? This is not like when you were back in, grammar school or, high school, and, you're in literature class and your teacher, says, all right, raise your hand, who's going to define what this author was meaning by this. No,
Yeah, no.
I think this is, I guess, is a no pressure environment here. And I think, that what everyone shares, it really comes from the heart. So one of the lines that really, stood out, because this is a lot of the essence as far as the work that we do to create the awareness, is that how can this guy be blind because he has some sight? And that is just a daily common occurrence that we try to break down that barrier, because people I've come to learn as well, and feel that if you actually take a minute to explain someone about blindness and all the different shades that it comes in, they understand it. But the problem is that myself, Dave, and everyone out there, we don't have the ability always to connect to the entire world, to educate them on a large scale. And that's why it just, it takes time to break down, the stereotypes and to break down those barriers. But
there's so many things like that. They're just so obvious. And once you explain them, but you just kind of misjudge, or lack of education, and yeah, exactly that. But yeah, you're 100% right. I'd love to hear from more, the people out there. What is it with them that they really related to with their own stories, with their own experiences? What was it stood out from that piece that really kind of hit them?
And I also, and not to, I'm gonna, Dave, I'm going to, thank you, Ken. I'm going to take this a one step further, and that, Dave, your work, I'm talking about specifically Dave Steele right now, the blind poet, your work, and what you've been working on for the last 3 to 4 months about this campaign. I don't know if we can talk about it tonight. I'm going to let you decide.
It's already out there.
It's already out there. Okay.
Also, yeah.
So true. That is true. It is out there. Okay. So, how can this guy be blind because he has some sight, right? Dave, can I segue into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave is involved in this large scale global campaign that I am hopeful not only that well, I'm sure everyone here will see it because we're going to share it, but I am certain that the work, Dave's collaboration for a project that he just wrapped up, and I want Dave to talk about it because I don't want to, I want Dave to talk about it, but Dave's work for this project with this pharmaceutical, with Roche Pharmaceutical, is going to break down barriers 100% because the quality, the content, and the entire production that was, put in to create this magnificent campaign is definitely going to make, waves throughout the world. So,
Yeah,
Dave,
the campaign, it's been a lot of hard work going on in the background for a few months now, and finally, well, I say finally, we kind of did a launch at the beginning of the week, and then the launch got pulled back due to some technical issues, and they're doing an official proper launch on Wednesday of next week. So Wednesday of next week is when, which is the 22nd, I believe, is when it will officially be launched. So I'll be sharing stuff on social media, and there's going to be a lot. It's going to be running for a long time. So I know there's a lot of people out there who follow me on social media who've already seen some, not all, some of the videos, the campaign video and the performance video that was put out on Roche's website, or YouTube channel, I should say, at the beginning of this week. But it's been pulled back slightly, and they're not promoting it as such until next week. But yeah, amazing campaign. And we can kind of talk about it now briefly to a certain degree. So tonight is going to be a very big team poetry. I've got lots of poetry to share. We've got a very special guest coming up very, very shortly. Lots of big announcements aside from the Ross thing. And then there's going to be a break from team poetry over the next 2 weeks. We're going to take a break for the holidays, and I got some things going on this side and working on a few things as well. So there's going to be a 2 week kind of break, but that 2 week break, there's going to be a lot of momentum building and excitement on social media. And then by the time we come back in 2 weeks' time, oh my God, there's going to be a lot to talk about. But we're going to talk about a lot of it tonight as well. And you're going to understand why we're taking this 2 week break and how exciting it's going to be on the one, the next Tea and Poetry. Yeah, the Rush campaign, I have got to work with two amazing.
I just want to make sure people understand, because the way you say it, by the way, with your accent, it sounds like Rush. But I want to make sure everyone understands what we're talking about. We're talking about the farmer school, Roche, ROCHE.
Yeah, Roche. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical, they are a biotechnology company. That's their official.
That is their official.
Yeah, biotechnology company Roche, but they deal in pharmaceuticals and a lot more. Huge global company who approached us to work on this campaign at the beginning of the year, and we've been kind of involved with them, and there's a lot of planning going on with these things. And the two artists that I got to collaborate with, a gentleman by the name of Belushi, who is an OBE, knighted by the Queen, who is a composer, musician, plays a lot of kind of Indian music, plays the sitar, multi-instrumentalist. He actually did the closing ceremony of the Paralympic Games when it was held in London in 2012 with Coldplay. He's performed with Stevie Wonder, with Annie Lennox, with a lot of major recording artists, and then now is obviously I've got to work with him. Rachel Gadsden, who is going to be a guest on Tea and Poetry on the next episode in 2 weeks' time, who just was on TV. Literally, Barry, I don't know if you've seen this yet, by the way.
No, I have not.
You were like, oh my God. Rachel was on TV 2 nights ago. They did a concert here at Wembley in London for the homecoming of the Paralympians from the Great British team.
Oh, wow.
She was on stage with 2 classical musicians doing a live performance of a painting. And oh my God, incredible. I need to send you this. It's just unreal.
Yeah, please.
But I will send you a link.
Literally, Rachel's artwork is just incredible as it is. So I can only imagine.
Yeah, incredible. So I will send you the link for that. But yeah, Rachel's going to be a guest on the next Tea and Poetry in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So lots to be talking about with that project, which we're going to be able to talk about more once they do the official launch next Wednesday. But keep an eye for those on social media There'll be lots more videos to come. Barry's actually seen there's a video that no one's seen yet, which is kind of the backstory of myself and Rachel and Belugi. And yeah,
it's spectacular. There's nothing like high quality digital content and capturing the story at the same time. It's just incredible.
So we're going to talk lots about that on the next Team Poetry. We're going to have Rachel on there, which is going to be amazing. What an unbelievable story she's got with regards to her background, and an incredible person. Such an honor to work with her. And I'm going to have Belugi on in the future as well, and we're going to be doing some more projects together. But this is not taken away from tonight, because tonight is all going to be about one thing. If you haven't done so yet, if you haven't followed me on social media and you haven't seen my various posts over the last couple of days, once Tea and Poetry is finished, you guys, everyone listening, you need to do one thing for me. If you do one thing today, and that is to go onto my website, theblindpoet.net, and check out all the new updates on there. It has been revamped by Barry and the team at the LD Lighthouse. An incredible job. I've had comments on there saying the most accessible website that people have ever seen. So well done. Amazing content, very clean, very well thought out, very accessible for people of all disabilities. And I'm not just talking about people with sight loss. Unbelievable job. But in the website now, we finally announced, we did it a few weeks ago, the announcement that was coming out. But finally, I can now say my new children's book, Austin's Amazing Adventures, launches in October. Pre-orders are available to pre-order now. I know there's people on the call who messaged me before the call saying they've already pre-ordered. If you haven't done so yet, go and order a copy. Get yourself a pre-order. Do not. Oh, you've gone quiet. You've gone off.
I said just one copy. Order 20 copies.
Absolutely. Yeah,
buy
100%.
them for your friend. Buy them for the friend's kids. I mean, this is gonna be flying off the shelf. I mean, it already is. But
this is something that is going to make a huge difference to so many children across the world. And I talked about my Stand By Me RP books and how proud I am of those first three books and everything they've done for people, a lot of the people on these calls. But these books are another level. For anyone that's unfamiliar with the books, Austin's Amazing Adventures are going to be, this is the first book of many to come, short poetic stories, so rhyming stories about a young visually impaired boy based on my son Austin. And in the story, he is a young visually impaired boy that is losing his sight from the age of kind of 5 years old. He has his best friend, who is his guide dog, who's called Joe. And it's about them going to a mainstream primary elementary school, as you'd call it in America, and interacting with the children in there and the staff and the teachers, and talking about all the challenges they would face on a day-to-day basis. And these books are going to normalize disability and normalize low vision and blindness for people all over the world. They're going to give a character that children with low vision and blindness can really identify with, and also help people children who don't know a lot about disability and blindness and low vision understand that these kids, although they have different challenges, are just like them. And that is a truly amazing thing to be able to do. I'm so excited for these. And not only tonight are we going to kind of talk about these books and get you to pre-order them, because that's what you're going to do, but we've got a very, very special guest who we're going to bring in straight away onto the call. Yep. I'm so proud to have this lady on the call tonight, a really, really good friend. It is the illustrator of Austin's Amazing Adventures, the amazingly talented Sue Green. We're going to bring her in and we're going to speak about the books. So Barry, you want to take care of that?
Yeah, I was going to say, with every book, specifically children's book, you have to have the power of the creative resources. And when you hand delivered, there she is. Just unmute yourself, Sue. When you came over here I think it was on the first trip you came over
2019
back in 2019. I know it feels like forever ago. You brought this folder with all the illustrations. Well, I should say the original illustrations.
We hadn't really spoke about it as well. I just kind of brought them over to show you the concept.
Correct. And when I first saw those illustrations, my mouth just dropped. Like, what? I couldn't even believe it. I mean, just the scenery, the level of detail. And I said to Dave, I said, do you
have any of the images to hand that you can actually audio describe and screenshot onto the?
I could bring one image on. Yes. Yeah. Let me go ahead and do that. But I just want to say one thing. So I said to Dave, I said, you need to introduce me to this illustrator because I've never seen anything like this before. The talent, the quality that goes into drawing an illustration is just incredible. So I'm going to welcome Sue. Sue, you're still on mute, so let me ask you to unmute there.
Sorry, you can hear me now. Sorry.
We certainly can. Yes. We certainly can. Hi, Sue.
Hi, hello everyone. Hello.
How you doing?
So good to have you on.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and bring the one of the illustrations on right now, and I'm just going to walk through. Actually, we're going to do that in just a moment. Let's switch topics. I want to bring on Sue first, and have Sue, share a few things. Dave, I'm sure there's some specifics that you want to hear from Sue.
I think we're just going to pull up an image first of all, and then we can kind of talk about how we met and the project and kind of what you thought about it, and yeah,
absolutely. So we were saying before, Dave needed the right talent to be able to take his writings, his story, and to bring it to life, and Sue has just done an exceptional job in making that happen. Just bear with me just a moment here. There's a large file, so I'm actually going to bring on not the cover. I'm going to bring on a different image if that's okay with you, Dave.
Yeah, anyone. All good.
And I'm going to let everyone see what the original looked like here, what it looks like, and go through it. So give me 1 second. Now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so let me know if you can you see, has the image appeared on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. I should say it's hard to choose a favorite because all of the illustrations are just, on a whole nother level. Like Sue said, she's on another planet. So this particular, and I wanted to say, if you do have a level site and you're seeing this image or this illustration, at the top of the illustration, the original way, Sue had penciled in, Dave's words as far as to go there.
Do you want me to read the words so it's in my voice?
Yeah, can you read it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got it here in front of me on my iPad, so I've already pulled up the image. I'm one step ahead of you. So do you want to, well, I think you should audio describe the image first of all for those that can't see it, and then I'll read the text.
Okay, so we have young Austin sitting on the floor, I would say probably in his bedroom.
Yeah.
And he's sitting on the floor. He's wearing a red t-shirt with a nice big blue A on the front and center of the t-shirt. It's got the A so it's a blue A with the outline in green. Now, to the right of Austin is pointing or touching the wall, and what's on the wall are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pictures that Austin himself has actually drawn, because on the floor sitting next to Austin is a stack of sheets, blank paper, and right behind that is a holder, if you want a cup or a bowl or whatever you want a proper word is, with all different colored pencils. And so basically, the scene is depicting Austin hanging up his pictures on the wall, his drawings, Now, the wall itself, the wallpaper has sailboats scattered throughout. It's on a blue background with a red, I believe those are sailboats. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong.
They are.
Okay, just you never know. In the UK, there might be something else. No, there's sailboats with a yellow sail and a red sailboat. And then just behind Austin, there is a little shelf with a handful of books, and there are some book holders, right? Or bookends. Is that what's the proper word?
Bookend.
Yeah. So we got a turtle bookend, and then we have like the I don't know what that is. Is that a model or
It's
is it
a
another?
knight. It's a knight.
It's a
actually
knight. It is a knight.
a model of the knight in shining armor.
Shining armor. So
yeah.
Okay, so that's the entire scene, and then I mean I can go through the various. You know, Sue can go through the actual pictures of what Austin actually created. Because,
okay, so Austin has drawn his dreams of his future as a little boy would, and what he wants to be when he grows up. And so the picture that he's pointing at with his right arm is a picture that he's drawn of himself as an astronaut. And on the right of that is a picture of him as a cowboy. On the right of that one is a picture of himself and his guide dog Joe. And then underneath the picture of the astronaut is another picture of himself as a footballer, as in soccer.
Thank you.
and then under his arm and to the right of the soccer picture is a picture of him being an artist. So they're pinned to the wall. So they're his dreams and aspirations.
I have to tell you that Austin's an amazing artist himself. I wonder where he got his talent from.
Yeah, absolutely. And the text that's on the picture is just a lovely line, which I'm sure a lot of people will kind of relate to. And this is kind of giving you a little snippet of the book. And the text says, "Now Austin feels amazing, and he knows that he can be absolutely anything despite what he can't see."
Yeah, it's
how's that for a little teaser?
That is awesome. So, all right, I'm gonna pull this image away. And
so what I'd like to do right now is, and this is cool having Sue on because we're going to talk about in just a second, kind of how we met and kind of how we kind of explained I explained the project to Sue and all the hard work that's been put onto it. But before we do that, I want to bring on somebody else onto the call, because when I initially had the idea for this project and realized what it could kind of do for a lot of VI children out there and around the world, and the impact that this book is going to have when it's finally released very, very soon. I kind of explained it to Sue, and she knows to a certain degree, but I think it would be great to get a kind of first-hand explanation of that. So I'm going to kind of put her on the spot.
That's okay.
No, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just putting somebody else on the spot. Because I know she won't mind. Let me just double check 1 second. I'm just going through the actual. Yes. If she wouldn't mind, I'd love to bring Bailey on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, Bailey, you're coming on.
And Bailey's just got a new job as well, so we want to say congratulations to Bailey as well.
Congratulations.
So we're going to talk about this in a second. Yeah, wait till we see. Bailey's a legend.
All the way from Texas.
Ah.
Here she comes.
Hello.
Hey, Bailey.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Hi, Bailey. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Can I just first of all say congratulations on the new job?
Thank you.
When did you start?
I'll start in the beginning of October. So
can you just say to Sue what the new job is? Because Sue is actually a primary school teacher.
Okay. Well, I'm a speech therapist. So yes, so I'll be working with the special populations department. So I have a lot of little ones that have autism, a lot of hearing impaired, just, all over the spectrum.
That's amazing.
I'm excited.
That's so lovely. Yes.
And could you, because I am going to put you on the spot, Bailey, can you explain to Sue why these books are so important and your connection with them and how we kind of got to meet?
Yeah, so I met Dave through my nephew who has retinitis pigmentosa, and we had no idea what in the world that was until we, came upon Dave's work, and all of that really just opened our eyes to the situation and gave us a lot of hope. And but he was still going, my nephew was still going to school in all regular classes. And
So how old was Bailey when you first found out?
oh my goodness, I think he was 6 or 7,
Yeah.
maybe. And so he was in regular schools, and we had issues with his teachers, who he would get in trouble for running into kids because he wasn't paying attention, and that we all went like mama bear because they don't understand. And so a lot of it, I feel like these books too will be a good way to, we can give it to his teacher, or we can give it to anybody, and just kind of fill them in a little bit, and it's such a nice way too. You don't have to be rude about it or anything, because I know sometimes it's a touchy subject when it's your loved one. But yep, that's
But you'll be able to share. He'll be able to share that experience with children of his own age.
mm-hmm.
So they'll learn about it together.
And he
they're
is. Honestly, Braden's interviewed me. He's brilliant. He's how old's Braden now?
He's 11.
Wow. So yeah, a while ago, Braden interviewed me for his own YouTube channel, and it's funny actually because Austin was watching YouTube on the TV or on the iPad a couple of days ago, and the video of Braden interviewing me came up as a suggested video on his channel.
I'm gonna tell Braden that he's gonna feel famous.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like popping up on your For You page on TikTok or something. So yeah, it was great seeing that kind of pop up, and we rewatched it again, and yeah, so. I sorry to put you on the spot, Bailey. It was great. I knew obviously you were coming to join us tonight because you messaged me. It's just a great way of kind of explaining what these kind of books are going to do, and making the hard work that we're all kind of putting in at the moment to kind of get them out there worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it with. I do a lot of reading with my kids and my clients, and a lot of them feel a little isolated. So, they get pulled out of class to go have special services. And, the littler ones, they think it's a fun treat to get to leave class. But the older they get, the more they feel like, oh, I'm different. And why do I have to leave? And so reading these books, it kind of, I feel like it's going to be a really good, give them someone to relate to. And just, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
100%. That's exactly the idea behind them. And I've spoke about this before, and we've not connected for a few weeks now because I know obviously you've not been feeling too well and stuff. The concept that I had right from the start with these books, and Sue is well aware, and obviously Barry is as well, is that as these kind of stories develop, that it will be a kind of realistic, normalized picture of walking into any kind of elementary school and seeing and being able to, seeing Austin interacting with these children that are out there, children with things like ADHD, autism, and things like that, wheelchair, users, and just normalizing those things so these children are better understood. I spoke a couple of weeks ago, I know you weren't on the call, about Amy's nephew Josh, who passed away about 5 weeks ago now, at the age of 18, to Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And one of kind of the things I've always wanted to do, and I spoke with Kath, Amy's sister, Josh's mum, before he passed about this, is put a young Josh into these stories and really normalize children using wheelchairs and help people that way. And to be able to kind of do these things is just like amazing. So, I thank all you guys for the support. I hope, that it gets into the hands of these children that are really going to be helped by these books. And I know, Bailey, people like yourself, working in schools and different with different organizations, supporting me are going to help me do that. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks for giving us the medium to do it, because that makes it a lot easier and more fun.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bailey. I'm not going to keep you on. You can obviously listen to this stuff, but listen, keep in touch. As soon as these travel restrictions are lifted, me and you are going to get to sing together. I can't wait for that day to get on the stage with, because Sue, this girl is
singer.
Oh my God, is literally the greatest female voice I've ever heard. She is incredible, and I cannot wait to get on stage with you.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited too. So
yeah,
hopefully
see you soon.
Yep.
Take care, Bailey. Congratulations.
Thanks, Bailey.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Give my love to Braden as well and all the family.
Say again, sorry.
So Bailey's a great. She's been with us here on TM Poetry from the start. So always great to see an original. I just want to say a quick hello to Allison. I haven't seen Allison in a while, and Allison has joined us tonight. So,
I'd love Allison to come on. Let's see if Allison would like to come on and say hi. I think it'd be great to kind of get her opinions on the book and things like that. I hope you guys are all getting excited and hopefully all going to go on and pre-order as many copies as Barry would like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's things are moving along, great interest, and I know it's going to do really well out there because the message is so important. So I want to ask Sue a question, and Dave.
Sure.
Now, when you created those original images, right? When you, I don't know what year did you actually draw those? Were they back in 2019?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it took a long time. I think it kind of slipped into 2020 as well, didn't it? I think
Yeah.
But I think we first started in 2019.
They take a while. Yeah.
I got the concepts at the beginning of the year and wrote the first 6 books in the first night.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, you're telling Sue that she's got a lot of artwork coming up.
Oh, we got a lot.
Yeah, I have got a lot of artwork coming up.
Okay. So did you guys actually meet face to face when you guys first started, or was everything? I mean, you guys don't live.
Yeah,
you guys,
well,
you don't
not straight away. No.
Do you live near each other or no?
No. Well,
not no.
2-3 hours away.
Yeah.
No, that's not like 2-3 minutes or 2-3 blocks away. No.
No. So we actually got introduced by a previous guest of ours on Tea and Poetry, Gavin Neat, who is a former guide dog instructor, and Gavin's often been a sounding board for me. I actually spoke to him this morning, believe it or not, for a conversation that we are going to have, Barry, off air about Gavin. But I had a phone call with Gavin this morning for about an hour. But yeah, when I originally got the concept about Austin and his guide dog friend Joe, I wanted to speak to Gavin because Gavin was a former guide dog instructor. I wanted to make sure that I was being authentic in the way I was kind of telling this story and my kind of concept. So we talked it out, and I was talking about obviously having these pictures illustrated. And as soon as I said that, he said he introduced me to Sue, and instantly, with having that kind of connection of not only being an amazingly talented illustrator, but also working in a school environment and understanding that concept and that need for this kind of thing, it just everything kind of just fell into place.
It was a perfect match. Yeah. So I mean, I can't stop always staring at those illustrations because they're just remarkable. They're really. You're welcome, and I can't wait to see what's the next batch as far as what's going to come. How tell everyone how long does it take for you to draw an actual illustration?
I think they've all taken a while to do, so a few days of solid work for each one, and obviously it's kind of tweaking it because they come out from my imagination. So, and obviously I took lots of I've got lots of pictures of of Austin, but really the rest of it is kind of yeah, I mean, I've kind of put when I've needed a pose that I've had it in my head, and the words are so inspiring. I just, as soon as I read each verse, then it would conjure up an image, and I think, okay, so I want Austin, to be in this pose, and I had an idea about it, and I wouldn't necessarily have that, so I would literally have to find a child that's in that pose, or a picture or something, you know what I mean?
Well, you actually came to the house as well, didn't you? You came to the house.
That was great, because then I got lots of pictures.
We took pictures of Austin, and one of the things that I'd like to say about this is, and for those people, there's people out there who follow me for a while, and I consider family, like Bailey and Doreen, people I'm in contact with quite a lot, who through my social media and all my posts are part of my life, and know Austin. They do know Austin, and they can tell through these illustrations that you've done how you've captured him. It's not just drawing someone that looks like him. You've captured Austin, and that was always really important to me. That that these books, even though it's based on a character that is losing his sight, and Austin isn't losing his sight as of yet, because the way the RP works, it won't be till he's a lot older that he may or may not have the effects of it. In the story, he'd been losing his sight since he was 5, but you've captured Austin, and that was really, really vital.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was always really important to me, because obviously it's your son, and he needed to be right, and that's the thing. It's because it's the first book I've ever illustrated. So before, I mean, I teach art to primary school children, from the ages of 8 to 11. They're the age group that I teach at the moment, so I teach them, but I also work in child protection, and work with children who've suffered in all sorts of kind of social and emotional situations, and also support families. So I give advice to families just to improve the life for children, which I've done for many years. And I've known Gavin for a long time, and then he got in contact with me and said, he literally phoned me, because he lives a long way. He lives up in Scotland, and so Gavin phoned me up and said, "Oh, I've got this friend who needs a book illustrating, and he's known me since I was a teenager, and he said, can you, is it okay if he gets in touch?" I said, "Sure, I'll give you my number. I haven't illustrated a book. I'm not a book illustrator as such, but I've had lots of exhibitions and do portraits and all sorts of different artwork." And I said, "Give him a call." And literally, I think it was about 10 minutes later, I get a call from Dave, and we spoke, and we clicked, and we literally were on the phone for about an hour and a half, just talking about this kind of, we're both sort of about supporting children, and about improving the lives of others, and about helping other people to to really function to their best, that they can possibly be. And I think that's what drives everything that we do together, isn't it, Dave? Creatively, we're both about helping other people and making that difference. And I haven't worked with any visually impaired children or adults before, but I've worked with so many other sort of things that I get, making life difficult for children. So many other, lots of mental health, working with children, who, they're just jumped at the opportunity to be able to help these, help a global community of children through my drawings. What a gift! What a gift, and it really is.
And we're almost there. It's it's not long now till we're going to have the books in hand, and obviously the children out there, more importantly, are going to have them making that impact that Bailey so well described when talking about Braden. So I'd really like to put it out there to anyone else to kind of come on and ask any questions. So if there's anyone out there, please raise your hand now.
Raise your hand now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just I unfortunately I need to exit right now, but Dave and Sue are here, and
I'm
you're
gonna
in
take it
great
home.
hands. I just want to share with everyone this box. If anyone could, you know, guess what's inside here in 2 weeks, let me know. Something interesting.
Okay.
And it's a new device. Anyway,
Okay, cool.
Sue, it was great to see you. Conversation
You
will
too, Barry.
continue. Dave, you have the keys to tea and
Absolutely.
poetry. And Sue, thank you so much for joining us. I encourage everyone to please check out theblindpoet.net. The site looks amazing, fully accessible, really revamped, looking great. And
Can we
most
just say
importantly,
the copies are $15.99 dollars, so it's about
yes,
£12 in UK.
correct.
Just £12. So yeah, you go on there and order, as
Order
many as you
away.
can.
Order away. So, okay, Dave, it's all yours. Take care, Sue.
Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And just one more important thing, as Barry's going there, we were talking about it the other day, and this book's going to be fully accessible. Hopefully, in the future, we're going to have a Braille copy. But one of the main questions I've always been asked from my first 3 books is there going to be an audio version? And with this, I can announce to you that there will be an audio version right from the start. And when the books go live and are released, for anyone that requires an audio version, it is going to be free with every purchase. So there's going to be an audio file, an MP4 file that once you purchase the books, you will, if you require it, if you need an audio version, it will be sent automatically to you free of charge. So we're not going to do a separate charge for an audio version. It's going to be free, and we're going to make this book accessible at no extra cost. So and that kind of really just hopefully emphasizes the point that this isn't, I think I'm sure myself and Sue and Barry have really put this across, but these books are not about making money. It's not about anything other than getting these books into the hands of the children that actually are going to be helped by them. And that is, has been right from the start the kind of main focus. So what I want to do is I'm just looking to look at the chat now, because I've kind of taken control of everything. I'm just going to go into the chat. We've got lots of amazing comments. I'm just going to read some of these now. We've got Cynthia saying, absolutely, this will be fabulous for teachers to understand the condition. When I was teaching, we had 2 students with RP, and it was myself that had to try and explain and educate other staff, which is often the way. This is the last chance to kind of come on now before we kind of finish off, because we've only got literally a few minutes left. So if anyone would like to come on, please raise your hand now. I would love to hear from Sharon Herman Payne. I would love to hear specifically from Ken, from Dr. Harriet, if she'd like to come on, from Doreen, from Sedona Dave, Cynthia, Bailey's already been on. Alison, I'd love you to come on, and obviously Travis as well. So any of those, please raise your hand now and let me know. We've got Travis, so I'm going to bring Travis on, because Travis has had his hand raised from the start. So let's do that. I'm just going to hopefully bring Travis in on mute. And Travis, are you there?
You are listening to live team coverage right here, right now on TM Poetry Radio, brought to you by Kellogg's, featuring your favorite breakfast cereals, Audi, featuring the all-new Audi A4 e-tron, and these fine sponsors.
Hey, how you doing, Travis?
Wonderful. How about you, Mr. Dave Steele?
I'm very, very good. We can't see you. I don't know if you can. You're not able to turn your camera on. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's. Don't worry if you can't. That's fine.
Yeah, normally I don't usually activate the video feature, especially on other Zoom calls.
No, you don't. That's my bad. It's normally Barry that deals with this. Listen, always great to have you on, Travis.
Yeah.
I know we've got Sue here.
Yeah.
How any comments on the book or anything you'd like to ask Sue?
Well, I have to say that new book that's coming out, I am super excited to hear about it. What is the age group for this book anyway? Can you tell me that?
So I would say anything from kind of like 5, 6 upwards. It's aimed at kind of elementary school children. But anyone can kind of enjoy it. It's got some, it is that thing of really kind of well, look, I'll tell you what, Travis, what I'll do is I'll give you a kind of idea of the first book and the story. So the first book kind of sets up the world and talks about Austin as a character. Obviously, the whole story is written in poetry, so it all rhymes as you go through. And it talks about how Austin started to lose his sight at the age of 5, and how as he got a bit older, he then got his guide dog, and he got his guide dog quite young. And there's a lot of even though it's not as widely used, there is a lot of guide dog organizations and authorities that are looking at using guide dogs with younger children these days, and it's something that is going to be more and more encouraged. And I love the idea of having that kind of concept of the friendship between a young boy and his best friend, who's his guide dog, and not only being his best friend, but giving him that independence back. And then the first story is I don't want to kind of give too much away, but it's kind of him in school with his guide dog, but having a little dip, more of a dip in his vision, and struggling to kind of do his spelling test, and his teacher recognizing these kind of signs and helping him learn Braille. And it's done in a beautiful way. And there's a lot of children out there all over the world that are really going to kind of relate to this story. But also, as we said, there's going to be a lot of children who aren't affected by disability or low vision or blindness who will read the story and go, I understand it a lot clearer now.
That sounds great. This is really exciting here.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's a question I'd like to ask you, actually, Travis. As someone who, I mean, you've been blind from very young, haven't you?
Since birth, basically.
Since birth, yeah. So, from that kind of perspective, how if you take yourself back to when you were, maybe 5, 8 years old, or Austin's age at 8 years old. How would you have been helped by a book like this being in your school?
Well, first of all, when I was like 7.5, I was sent to the blind school because we weren't getting the services that we were supposed to, like when I was in kindergarten at the public school, where we had the vision services. I literally think that would have been a great book, especially when I went back to the school district before I went into 5th grade and everything. I think this is a good book for special ed teachers who've never had blind, students before, for one thing. Yep. And something, I'll tell you who's also going to appreciate a book like this. Blind schools will appreciate, like, Arizona State School for the Blind, etc.
And can I tell you as well, this is the thing that Sue's been a big kind of influencer on, is at the end of each book, so obviously we're only at the first book at the moment, but at the end of the stories, we have a set of questions, which we call guided learning questions or talking points. And these questions are there to encourage children to kind of talk about the story that's just happened and how they relate to the story and what they think about certain aspects. And not only will it encourage children with visual impairment to actually talk about how they related to the things that were happening in the story to Austin, but also children who aren't affected to put themselves in the shoes of Austin and understand that a little bit more. And it can be done as part of a lesson within schools as well.
I agree with you. And I have to say, I went from, growing up in the schools and everything, I went from using a Perkins Braille writer. And then, like, when I went to middle school, I got my first portable electronic device, for transport which was called the Braille and Speak. You probably remember those, or you've heard about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And it was like, whoa, we're starting to go portable. And then it's like, then I got my first laptop, even though I had a desktop, in late 2001. And then it's just like, whoa. And then like late 2003, early 2004, I got my first Braille note. It's like, wow, all my stuff has evolved in a good way. I mean, going from a clunky Braille writer from Perkins to this, basically.
So yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully, I know you see it. I know you really get and understand why these books are important. As hopefully, everyone on the call does. Yeah, I just can't wait to kind of get these out and really relying on everyone's support to really get these books and pre-order them and show them to people and hopefully they are really going to make a difference, because that is that's why we've put all this hard work in.
I don't disagree with you. I totally agree with you more than 100%. So
thank you. And listen, before you go and before we kind of wrap things up, is there anything you'd like to ask Sue?
So Sue, since you are like the author of this book,
Illustrator.
Illustrator. So like the illustrator. So how did you feel about illustrating this book? Did you feel inspired? Because it seems like you knew Dave Steele for quite a long time and everything.
No, not at all. No.
Oh, okay.
No, I approached Sue to actually, to illustrate this book through a friend of ours. We were just saying Gavin Neat before. So, it was because of this book.
So Sue, when you guys first met and everything, and how did you feel about illustrating the book? Did you feel honored? You have to feel honored, especially meeting Dave Steele and everything.
Well, absolutely. But it was just kind of a phone call out of the. It was literally a phone call from my friend to say he knew this guy, Dave Steele, really nice guy, is writing a children's book, and that's all. And he needs an illustrator. And I said, oh, well, okay. And he said, is it okay if I give him your number? And I said, yeah, of course, give him the number. And then literally 10 minutes later, Dave phones up, and that's the first I knew of anything,
It's funny, though, because the way kind of our relationship has kind of gone, Sue has kind of had that initial phone call to get to know about the project. And then, we start to get to know each other. And it's not been until kind of, after that, where, we've had more regular contact and I've been sharing more of my work with Sue, that she's kind of got to see the scope of it all. And then obviously even tonight as well, coming on and actually, hearing you guys, people like yourself, Travis, speaking and seeing that kind of firsthand act.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful. It's kind of it really truly is a developing friendship in so many ways, isn't it, Dave? Kind of like getting to know more about what you do and the people. This is lovely meeting people like you, Travis.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just lovely. I love meeting new people, and this is great because outside of me illustrating this book, you and I would never speak. We wouldn't have ever met, Travis. So what a wonderful thing life is.
Absolutely.
If you come back on future calls, that would be so wonderful. If you come back,
I will absolutely. Absolutely.
We're going to have an official, I think, Tea and Poetry launch party when the book is in everyone's hands. We'll come on, and for that week we won't be tea and poetry. We'll be champagne and poetry that night. So. It should be very interesting. Listen, Travis, we are going to wrap it up very shortly, so I'm going to kind of send you back. Now, don't forget, we're not here for the next 2 weeks due to the holidays in the States, the Jewish holidays and a few other things we've got kind of going on this side. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. I hope Sue's going to come and join us as well. We've got Rachel.
Absolutely,
Gadsden.
I'll be here.
Yeah, we've got Rachel Gadsden from the Ross Project, who is an incredible artist. Who I think obviously connecting you two guys as well. It's going to be amazing. But so I'm going to send you back, Travis, before we wrap things up. So thank you once again. Bye, Travis. For always being here.
Good to meet you.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
So Travis has gone back now. I think we're going to kind of. Let's just check on the time. Look at that. It's 1 minute past 10. That's we're going to kind of wrap things up there. I always kind of actually it probably worked out pretty well. I always. Generally, I've got this little bit of a tradition with anyone that comes on as a new guest. I always read them a piece of poetry. And I always read a piece of poetry at the beginning of the call and one at the end of the call. And so I'd like to kind of tick 2 boxes by reading you a piece of poetry and kind of finish the call as well. And before we do that, I just want to say a massive thank you to Barry, to obviously Sue as our special guest tonight, to Travis, to Bailey, who came on and spoke, to everyone that kind of tuned in. As always, these calls will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel, the Blind Poet YouTube channel, over the next couple of days. But don't forget, as soon as you hung up and done with this call, get yourself onto theblindpoet.net and pre-order 1 million copies of Austin's Amazing Adventures. But yeah, so I'm going to kind of leave you with this piece of poetry, and then we're going to kind of finish as we go. And this is I've written about 4 or 5 pieces of poetry over the last couple of days, and I'm trying to choose which one is best to kind of finish with. I'm going to finish with this one. Okay. I remember feeling that my chance in life was fading fast, all because my sight was fading, but that feeling didn't last. Too many days avoiding rays, convinced of the excuse that because I'd need assistance, just stay home and be recluse. I battled with my confidence, self-worth and dignity, consumed by being judged on what I can or cannot see. But I made a decision not to hide away no more. This life is far too precious to be hid behind my door. So now I'm swiping confidence, my long cane left to right. There's nothing that can stop me. I am more than fading sight. And yes, I am disabled, but I'm able to create my rhyming explanations, isolations, not my fate. If my story's familiar and you felt the same way too, but don't know where to start, just trust your heart, believe in you. For I'm no superhero, just an ordinary man. And if I can live the life I choose, I've no doubt that you can. There we go. Thank you once again to everyone that joined another week of Tea and Poetry. Thanks again, Sue. I'll be speaking to you over the next few days. Have a lovely evening, what's left of it. Thanks again, guys. Get yourself to theblindpoet.net.
Bye, everyone.
And join us again in 2 weeks' time for another amazing episode of Tea and Poetry. See you soon, guys.
Thank you for watching Tea and Poetry, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Join us live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Lanny D. Chesapeake Lighthouse and the Low Vision Shop. If you enjoyed Tea and Poetry, please invite a friend, like, share, and subscribe.